Hello again, good people. Let's continue with adding embellishments to our chords, and today we are going to learn how to play an Esus4 and an Eadd2, and much like the other suspended and add chords that you've learned, they are very easy and they're really going to make things sound really sweet, okay, and spice them up. So, I'm going to give you an up-close and personal look at this, but here's an E major. Now listen to the difference if I add a fourth, take away the third, making it an Esus4. E major, here's a sus, now here's the Add2 up top. Hear that difference? Isn't that beautiful? How much just by adding a finger you can get out of these chords. It's amazing. Let me do a little strum and then I'll come in tight. Listen, I'll go through all three of them. You could sit there and just strum these chords and go through these suspensions and adds and put them together in combinations and just have fun with them, and they sound so good. In fact, this E to Esus4 is the beginning of a very famous song by the Eagles called Peaceful Easy Feeling that you're going to be playing very soon, but check out how it sounds. I'll do a measure on each chord with down, down, up, strum 2, and you'll get the, if you know this song, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Do you know that song, Tim? Yeah. That's what all these are about. So let me bring myself in close, and I can show you what I'm doing here. Okay. Now we're basing this. You could do these with E major or E minor, but let's start with E major. Okay. And I want to get you playing these and having fun. So here's our E major chord, which you guys and ladies know. Let me give you a little different view of that. Let's see if I can get it in a little tighter. Oh, there you go. There's a nice shot of E major. Now, to play an Esus4, we have to add the fourth and take away the third. So we add our pinky right there on this A note, which is the fourth in the key of E. See that? I'm adding this note right here with my pinky, but I'm leaving my first finger down too, because when I come off it, I want to go back to the E major. See? That's a nice thing to do, so I could come off and then it's E major. Esus4, E major. That's how I was playing that Eagles song. I was on the E major, Esus4, E major, Esus4. So stay on them a measure each. So it's a very nice chord. Check it out. It has a lot of richness. Here's E major. So try to do a measure on each. E major. Sus4. Isn't that nice? Alright. And then if you want to play the Add2, you're going to have to add with your pinky right here, the F sharp note, right at the second fret. And you'd add that note right there. So you get this sound. I'll try to pull my fingers back so you can see it a little bit better. There you go. I'm adding my pinky up top. Now I'm holding down the whole E major. Now if I add my pinky, see, that's that Add2 you're hearing. The key of E, F sharp. Sus4. Add2. So let's put that in the progression. Okay? Let's go E, E sus4, E, E add2, E. Major, Esus4, E major, Esus2, E add2, E major, Sus4. Okay, the core voicing, these three fingers stay down the whole time. I'm just manipulating with the pinky. Okay, but don't take the first finger off if you're going for E major, because then that'll make it E minor. We don't want to do that. If you want to play the chord with E minor, you can. But You don't want to go between the major and the minor, it'll be a clash, but you can go between the minor and the sus and the add. So let's do it again. Here's E minor, right? Our 2-finger chord. Nice shot of that chord. So if I wanted to play the E add 2, I would use my 3rd finger, right, on that F sharp note. And you get this. This is a really cool chord. I love this chord. I use it a lot. Here's my E minor. Here is adding the 3rd. Gives it that darker kind of sound, right? So E minor, and then add that to that high E string, and you get your add 2. There's my sus4. See, it sounds a lot darker because we're pedaling off of the minor chord. Let me see if I can give you a better shot at that. I know it was kind of hard to see. Let's try this. Here's the E minor, right? 1st and 2nd finger. And then if I add that 3rd finger, there you go. Right there, that's my E sus4, right? There it is. Look at that. There's a good shot right there. And then add that add 2 up top. Practice those going back and forth, the measure on each, but always sandwich the major or minor in between. So you're going E major, E sus2, E major, E major, E add 2, E major, E sus4, E major, or E minor, E add 2, E minor. So you're always sandwiching that in there, just like you did on the D sus2 and on the D sus4 and on the C sus2 and on the C add 2 and C sus4 and the A sus2 and A sus4, right? All these embellishments are so cool, so you get all these beautiful, beautiful sounds. Right? And then if you want to pepper them in there, right, we could pepper them in. Less than a measure each. A. D. A. I was just fooling around there, but just showing you what I'd like you to practice. See, I was just having fun. I was just going from the E to the A to the D and just adding suspension as I go, or adding the add chords. So I want you to practice that and have fun with it and go from one to the next and fool around with the chord changes, and that's what's going to get you better, right? And you're going to let your ear guide you. Ooh, this sounds nice when I play that. But I want you to have fun with these suspensions and add chords, because we're going to be adding them into the songs all the time, and I want you to watch the module on peppering them in, because you're not going to have time in a lot of songs to stay in them for a full measure. Okay? So practice up, practice what we are in the order that we are recommending. Practice the right things according to the practice routines, and have fun with the instrument. And you should be in that video song library using everything that we're learning here in the lessons and applying it, and taking those songs and learning a song and applying that to your other songs, right? It's all about application. So enjoy, have fun, rock on, and we'll see you next time. Take care.